He's going for the corner. He's got it.
And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. Goes Davis. Oh my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back.
College football is filled with memorably epic moments that have captured the hearts of fans for generations. Victories have been snatched away by the jaws of defeats, and heartbreaks turned to triumphs in the blink of an eye.
30. They're down to the 20. Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going into the end zone. The Bears have won. The Bears have won.
Hope somebody gave that announcer a lozenge. Okay, and maybe a new instrument for that Stanford trombonist.
The Bears have won. Oh, my God. The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending.
But for all the good that the collegiate game has offered, the sport has endured its fair share of crap stains as well. From sign stealing to death penalties to shower scandal, let's leave that one alone. But you get the point. It hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows on the college gridiron. Just ask your social media feed on any given Saturday.
Twitter, radio.
Yeah. Oh, I'd give a rat's about Twitter.
Everyone's had their hand in ruining a particular game or season. Players? Sure. Coaches? Check. Administration? Snooze. But yeah, hell, old school fans will argue till they're blue in the face about how NIL and the transfer portal are killing their beloved ball. But the heat is off those guys, for the most part, for today's video. Today we're shining the crap spotlight on the whistle-blowing, coin-flipping, false start calling referees. Because sometimes things are actually black and white. So let's have some fun, depending on if you have any allegiances to the teams in question, and take a look at a few occasions where referees have ruined college football. After all, sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying when it comes to the refs, right? Here we go. October 15th, 2005, USC versus Notre Dame, the Bush Push. USC is driving late in the game, and it's 4th and 2. Trojan QB Matt Leinart tries to sneak it in, but just before he stopped, Reggie Bush does his best impression of a human bulldozer and literally shoves his teammate into the end zone. The refs? They keep their flags in their pockets like they're about to sell the last bag of popcorn at a movie theater. The Bush Push became so iconic that it was like the college football equivalent of, can you believe that they let that happen? It's like when you're at the grocery store and you see someone grab the last carton of milk right in front of you. But imagine if they literally shoved you out of the way to do it and the cashier was like, nah, that's fine. No harm, no foul. The refs allowed it, and suddenly the phrase, pushing the limits, took on a whole new meaning in college football.
That 100% needed me on that play. 100% needed me.
That was one of the problems you have when you have, you're an independent team is you don't have your own officials. So I believe it was Pac-12 officials who were in there. Yeah. So when Matt looked at the official, he should have looked familiar too to him a little bit there.
That game was as memorable as it gets. This next one, you might have to dig real deep in your brain cavern to remember what happened when I say Central Michigan and Oklahoma State from 2017. And even if it clicks then, it's probably jogging the memory of how it ended.
To the end zone! Touchdown! Unbelievable!
But in order to get there, you have to go back a play, and that's where the OK State fans draw their ire. The Cowboys had the ball with a 3-point lead and just 4 seconds left on the 4th down. They smartly decide to run one final play to run the clock out and go home happy, right? Nope. Instead, after throwing the ball out of bounds and seeing the clock hit trip zeros, the refs flagged Oklahoma State for intentional grounding and a loss of down. The MAC officials, mind you, determined the game cannot end on a penalty and award Central Michigan one untimed down, even though that doesn't apply on a loss of down penalty. So on the one hand, OK State got royally screwed, but on the other, we would have been robbed of, arguably, the play of the year that year.
I want to be able to, at some point, figure out how I can get that win back, because I'd already be at 150 right now. Then we wouldn't be talking about this. But there's got to be some circuit judge that would say the game was really over, you know. But anyway, yeah, that was a crazy part. Yeah, guys made a mistake. The officials made a mistake.
2 years prior, we had an ACC clash between Miami and Duke that resulted in another memorable finish the referees decided was too good to cancel out.
I know you all want to talk about officiating at the end there. I wish I could shed more light on what happened, but no one explained to me exactly what happened. I heard exactly what you heard.
The Blue Devils were rare favorites in this conference showdown, but needed a touchdown to take the lead with 6 seconds left in the game. And then all hell broke loose. On the ensuing kickoff, the Hurricanes used 8 laterals to pull off the miracle of all miracles and shock the Durham crowd, resulting in an improbable Miami victory. Only problem was, the officiating crew missed no less than 4 penalties on the play. Couple holdings here, a block in the back there, and a player down by contact. It appeared as if the ACC handed the whistles over to Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder for one play, and we'd all see what might happen.
40-yard line, no black shirts between the goal line. Can you believe what you just saw?
And it's no wonder the entire crew was suspended for 2 games following this debacle.
I'm going to just tell you like it is, I thought the guy was down. And I think pictures will prove me right that he was down if you want to review it when he lined over the ball. So, all of that said, there were issues in that game, there were holds, there were all kinds of things, issues in that game.
Let's keep it rolling with the Canes, shall we? After all, this is a program ripe with controversy and chaos that has seemed to follow it for decades. And the 2003 BCS National Championship was no exception.
The defending champion Miami Hurricanes and the Ohio State Buckeyes, the only undefeated teams in Division I college football after the 2002 season.
Except this time, the Hurricanes felt the crap storm ravage through their star-studded locker room thanks to some questionable flags during the most intense portion of the winner-take-all contest. The Buckeyes shockingly took Miami to overtime, where the Hurricanes struck first and then forced the OSU into a do-or-die 4th down from the 3-yard line. Craig Krenzel's end zone toss to Chris Gamble was incomplete in what looked like excellent coverage from Miami defensive back Glenn Sharp. But whoa, Nelly, hold on a minute.
Hold on. Hold the phone. Everybody comes running down on the field. You got to get off because there's a penalty flag thrown, and I think it's against Miami.
It was indeed new life for Ohio State. They'd scored 3 plays later to tie, and momentum carried over into the second OT period, where they'd pull off the upset over a clearly distraught Miami team. Keep the flag in your pants, sir. That was no time to do laundry. Unless you're a Buckeye fan, of course, in which case, congrats on beating what many believe to be the greatest college football team ever assembled.
A game in which penalties in the overtimes played a big part of it. And for the first time since 1968, the Buckeyes are the kings of the college football hill as they beat Miami 31-24 in 2 overtimes.
You gotta have some luck en route to the crown. Miami was the beneficiary then, and in 1990, Colorado had their own special dose. The Buffaloes wound up claiming a share of the national championship with Georgia Tech, but 3 months earlier had Lady Luck on their side. Down by 4 with under 1 minute to go, the Buffs spiked the ball on 1st down to stop the clock. Harmless enough, except the chain crew didn't flip the down card, and Colorado went on to run 4 more plays after that, the last of which resulted in pay dirt to pull off the infamous victory. So it's only right the 5th installment in this list is dedicated to the 5th down game. Had the Buffs scored 1, 2, or even 3 plays later, it never would have mattered. Pretty serendipitous, eh?
Got a hole! Makes the catch! Touchdown!
There are some big-time rivalries in this sport, and one that sits near the top of that list features Florida and Florida State, a.k.a. the Sunshine Showdown. The Gators had the overall edge in the series, but in 2003, they were just about to throw it all away thanks to the swindle in the swamp.
Goodness. So my freshman year was the swindle in the swamp. So that brings back a lot of memories. A bunch of... If we had replay back then, the game would have been completely different.
Many will argue, in fact, that this edition of the rivalry was the catalyst for the NCAA to implement that instant replay. It's kind of hard to imagine the game without it now, isn't it? But unfortunately for Florida, it won't erase that gut-wrenching result in which the Seminoles won by 4, benefiting from no less than 6 erroneous whistles from a crew that just so happened to come from the ACC. And it just so happens that they've never returned to the Swamp. Not just those particular referees, but ACC officials as a whole.
Clock still going. The official didn't respot the ball and the game's over.
The Zebras had it out for the Badgers back in 2013 as time ran out on Wisconsin's attempt to set up what would have been a game-winning field goal against Arizona State. Chaos and confusion reigned here, but the officiating crew didn't even give it a second thought. Like, hey guys, maybe talk this one over a bit before getting out of Dodge? Dinner reservations, anyone? Arizona State celebrated on their home turf while Wisconsin was stunned. All because the refs took their good old time spotting the ball and not allowing the visitors to play the game out naturally.
An awful way for this game to end.
Chris Borland can't believe it.
Now, what would make a crowd litter the playing field with trash during a high-profile primetime clash between Texas and Georgia? Well, this call, of course.
Offensive.
Number 7. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul with an automatic first down.
Only, as you can see, no real pass interference here, sir. The thing is, the penalty was ultimately nullified and the interception upheld. So 1, the refs made a bonehead call in the first place, and 2, they didn't have the backbone to maintain it because, as many commenters and fans pointed out, they were afraid. Either of Steve Sarkisian, the fans, or most likely, both. In the end, Georgia won anyway, so the refs might have gotten off unscathed. Nah, definitely scathed. Please scathe them in the comments. Scathe away.
Cross to the middle, juggle, diving, touchdown, Nebraska! Nebraska's a point away!
And last but not least, we present the flea kicker. Nebraska, Missouri, 1997. We all know when kicking is allowed in a football game. We also know when it isn't. But I guess the refs missed the memo in the midst of the pandemonium.
It's very strange seeing him dangling from the goalposts, happy, cheering, when, you know, at the same time we were just low.
Jones under pressure, it's over. Nebraska wins it in overtime.
I wanted nothing more than for us to prevail and win, especially after a crazy play like that.
We talked about needing a little lift from Lady Luck before. Well, Cornhusker fans certainly bookmarked that one en route to a shared national championship. What a wild, wild scene. At the end of the day, referees are a necessary evil in college football. Without them, we'd all be trying to figure out how to call our own penalties. And the game would descend into complete chaos, which, honestly, might be kind of fun. But sometimes, the refs just make those calls that leave us scratching our heads, wondering if they're in on a joke that we don't quite get. But hey, refs, we get it. You're only human, and making split-second decisions in front of thousands of fans can't be easy. Just, you know, maybe give us a break on the next phantom holding call. Or at least tell us which interdimensional portal you're pulling your penalty flags from. Because in the end, college football is a beautiful game. But the refs? Well, they definitely keep it interesting, even if it's in the most infuriating way possible. And as always, thanks for watching. And remember, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Feel free to leave us your comments below. See you in our next video. Oh, and don't forget to scathe away.
He's out on the field! He's gonna go into the end zone!
Racing to